100 days in hardcore Minecraft. I decided to try and make a first attempt at surviving 100 days in hardcore Minecraft. The interesting thing to point out is I'd never actually played hardcore Minecraft before, and I'd never actually played hard mode Minecraft, so this was a pretty big leap. For anyone who doesn't know what hardcore Minecraft is, well, you have one life, and when you die, it doesn't matter how much progress you've made in your world basically gets deleted and you have to try again. Now, the rules for this video is we have to play as close to Minecraft vanilla as possible. This is a modded Minecraft channel, but the only mods I'm allowed to use in this video are small utility mods that don't make things too much easier, but gives me things like a mini-map, displays the number of days, so it's much easier to keep track and also edit the video, and also to set my home so I don't have to use the compass. So on the first day when the world was completely fresh, when I'd literally just jumped into the game, I spawned on this really small island in the middle of the ocean, in the middle of nowhere, but it was actually a really cool spot because it was nearby a few different things. For an example, there was this shipwreck just off the shore which I could explore and get some early game items, and there was also another larger island nearby. Now, for some reason, I thought at first that it would be a really great idea to completely flatten the spawn island and just build on this, and then maybe build a boat later to go to and from it to kind of go for supply runs, because I thought if we're on survival mode and hardcore, it would be so much safer just to live on this tiny island in the middle of the ocean. So I spent the next 5 or 6 minutes completely flattening this island, collecting every dirt block, gravel block and sand block known to man, until I completely scrapped that idea. So I literally ended up wasting 5 minutes collecting pretty useless materials. After having the sudden realization that I was totally just wasting all of my time, I actually started to swim out to the shipwreck in the middle of the ocean. This was pretty close to the starting island, so it was a great spot to actually start off with some early game loot. Now, this had 2 chests in it with some pretty useless loot for the most part, but it did actually give me some books and paper which I could actually use later to actually make the enchanting table and the bookcases for it. Now, this shipwreck was also surrounded by dolphins. Luckily, they didn't steal my items because dolphins are super annoying in hardcore Minecraft. I went deep inside to the bottom of the hull of the ship and I actually found some pretty neat items to say that this was just the second chest I'd actually found. I found some iron fragments, a gold bar, and also a treasure map as well as the paper which I initially found, so we're off to a pretty strong start, guys. I was also debating at this point if I should actually transform this sunken vessel into a real ship and maybe I can make this into a base, but this just ended up being one of those failed ideas for a base that I had, and I decided to also scrap that concept. And alas, across the sunken vessel, deep across the ocean, I could see this huge forested plain of grass, this huge landmass in the middle of the ocean. I decided, well, hardcore can't be too hard, right? So let's just swim to the closest area of land and let's just build there. So this was going to be the hotspot for our next base. It was going to take a lot of swimming, but luckily in Minecraft, even in hardcore mode, there's not really exactly anything dangerous in the ocean, so I thought it would be a pretty easy way to actually go get started and build a base. Now, you'll see there was 2 giant islands here, which is really useful, and whilst I was swimming to this, I actually found some cod swimming around in the ocean, so I just went up and punched it, but I didn't actually end up taking any of this fish. I guess I was just going up and just punching fish, because I guess that's the kind of rebel that my Minecraft character was being for some reason. Another reason why this seed was so great is there was actually a fragmented nether portal on the same island which I decided to build my base on. This gave me a pretty quick, easy start. I got some gold from here, I got some enchanted gold leggings, a few chests to get started with storage in my base, and also a quick start on getting to the nether really quickly. So this was the perfect place that I could actually start building my base. So I started to gather a bit of wood and get the materials ready to actually start constructing some kind of shack. So I made a crafting table, placed it down, and got ready to start constructing the base. Now, this was a really weird order of events that I actually built this house in, because I built the crafting table first, and then I built this really weird, strange platform to make it on. Then I just started expanding around on this weird cube of a platform, I think this is possibly the strangest way that you could build a house in Minecraft, and my houses always end up looking absolutely terrible in Minecraft. I always just end up making something really basic to survive in, and this would definitely need extending later, as you'll see is to come. So I made some basic wooden tools because we'd gathered absolutely tons of wood by this stage, and I decided it was getting pretty time consuming and annoying to just keep punching things with my fist. Imagine how much that would actually hurt in real life if you were just punching bark. Well, I'm not really that interested to go ahead and try it. You'll see that the base was actually coming together quite nicely right now. We have a chest, we have a crafting bench, and some kind of weird template of what the base is going to be. And also, I was kind of plotting around, just experimenting where I thought the mine could go at this stage, because I wanted to quickly upgrade the tools straight up to stone, and I wanted to have the placement for the mine so that I could connect it into the base. I'd realised as I was mining how annoying things are just when you don't have any torches. At this point it wasn't really a problem, but as you'll see later, the torch problem is going to become really apparent, especially because at some point in this video I do actually activate shaders, which makes the lighting system completely different in Minecraft, and the need for torches in literally every nook and cranny and every cave and area of the game really mandatory. I started kind of filling in the house. It was kind of coming into its own at this state. It was starting to look really nice, and we were only going to give it one floor at this point, but the sand that we collected on that weird strange island that we started on was actually going to come in handy this time, because we actually did need to smelt it to make some windows. And you can see it's already getting to nighttime. It's already like 7 PM in the world. I made a hole for a door frame where I was going to put the door, but there was still the random odd few holes and gaps inside the base because I just didn't really have enough wood to fill in the whole of the base yet, and I couldn't even make a second floor. You'll see that the actual ceiling height of the base is really horrible right now. There's only 2 blocks of space to actually move around in, and I had to fill in a lot of the holes with temporary solutions like random blocks of cobblestone. Now it was really important at this point that I actually put a door on the base so that monsters didn't come in, and you can see I am panicking quite a lot right now because there's already like 2 or 3 creepers outside and a ton of skeletons, and I just decided to fill in all the window gaps with dirt because I don't know what kind of level of aimbot the skeletons have in hardcore mode, but I already know that they're my absolute bane of existence when I play on normal, so I wasn't going to take any chances. Especially since this was the first time playing hardcore, I really had no reason to expect anything easy. I upgraded to stone tools. We finally reached the Stone Age, which I'm pretty sure is like the first age in history. I'm not really sure what comes before the Stone Age. I just know that I only had wood tools and I had to fill in my windows with dirt and sand, so I wasn't exactly living very lavishly. Now, for this whole playthrough, I actually used the Minecraft advancement system to follow the achievements on how to progress, because if you didn't know, I haven't really played a serious Minecraft playthrough in vanilla since like 1.11, and I played a little bit in 1.15, but I still kind of needed an outline of what to do on this new update. I was also extremely curious at this stage because I'd actually obtained that buried treasure map from the Shipwreck, and it also happened that I had really good luck in this playthrough. Not only was I on a great seed, but the buried treasure was actually marked with the X right next to my base. So this random island, which I just happened to pick out, actually had the buried treasure right next to the nether portal and right next to the plot where I decided to build my base. So the mine before that was outside, which I initially created, well, I scrapped that and I just managed to bury a brand new hole and make a new mine under the base. This was kind of a little bit tricky though, because as I was mining underneath, there was loads of missing blocks outside that I had to fill in, which really made the base look asymmetrical and really messy on the outside. But if I didn't fill the blocks in, I already could envision that there was just going to be a creeper that would just drop down into the mine from outside and just blow me up in a second. So if you saw the clock tick and mark 12 on the clock, well, we've actually survived the first day of hardcore Minecraft. First challenge down on the tick list. Not going to get any easier from this point on. After mining for most of the day, I'd actually accrued quite a lot of items at this stage and decided to make the furnace so I could smelt some of the ores which I'd retrieved. I'd only had a little bit of iron that I got from the cave, but it was enough to start making some tools. Even though we're already 3 days in at this point, creepers was still a little bit of a problem. As you can see, I still had literally armies and groups of these guys just chilling outside my base. Usually they just eliminate themselves, but if I was going to try and survive 100 days, or at least give my best try at doing it the first time, then I wasn't going to let myself die to a creeper. I had 3 iron ingots smelted at this point, so I could easily make myself an iron pickaxe and tick off the next challenge on the advancement list. As you can see, I'd actually completed a lot of challenges already, only in the first 2 days of the game. I still didn't have enough iron to make a full tool set though, so I was going to have to suffer and use a stone sword right now, but it was a lot better than the wooden tools which I already had. So it was a combination of stone and iron tools, but I was making some headway already in the world. Mostly the rest of day 2 in this world was just mining this cavern which I just carved outside underneath my base. I needed to get tons of ore, and I also needed to get some coal to make some torches and to also smelt the ores, because I really didn't have enough in the base at this point either. This was going to be the start of my journey to actually try and find the first diamonds and try and get some more iron, because I was really low on supply. It wasn't long before I actually found a small vein of iron, which was really nice to uncover because it actually made me think that my strip mining that had taken around 20 minutes at this point was actually seeming to work. I was just using a 1x2 method of mining and basically going on forever until I actually finally hit on some ores. But unfortunately, I still hadn't found the ever elusive diamonds, but I was definitely going to make sure that that was the next task we were going to do. The next step was to make 1 piece of iron armor to get the next advancement. I also decided to use the iron pieces which I had got from the chest at the beginning of this survival map to actually make them into ingots too, so I had a few more that I could use. Now I had 7 iron ingots, which was quite a nice amount to actually start off with. I didn't have enough for the chest piece, so I decided that I would just literally make the helmet just so I got the advancement. And also I actually already had a few pieces of armor which I'd already found, which were actually pretty good and had some enchantments on them. For some reason I thought it would be a great idea to place the magma blocks which I'd mined around the ruined nether portal right outside my front door, which was pretty stupid because even when I stepped on them it hurt me too. This was something which I tried to do just to ward off creepers and skeletons, but they never actually made it past the doorway or inside the base, so the only thing it did was just make me lose health. But luckily I had a home teleport, so I could just go straight inside without having to use the front door. But this pathetic attempt at a defense mechanism didn't even work, so it was just really pointless. Day 2 was actually a really lucky day for mining. I was getting some really healthy pockets of iron ore and finding quite a lot of veins down there when I was mining. I just had to keep going and also go lower if I wanted to find diamonds. After mining for pretty much all of day 2, day 3 came and it had already gotten pretty early in the morning, so I decided to make a few adjustments to our house. Now the house already still looked pretty abysmal and all of the windows at this point were still covered in with dirt blocks, so I decided just to get rid of those and make a few renovations to our house. I filled it in with a few spruce planks which I had left over, and this would obviously be where I would put glass in place of it later. I decided to cover up most of the holes though still, to make sure that I wouldn't get sniped by a skeleton, but also leave some space for where I could actually put the glass blocks, and making sure everything was still symmetrical on each side. I also finally made some much needed upgrades in terms of tools. I made another iron pickaxe because my last one broke, and I finally actually made an iron sword. I also decided to make some shears to get some wool because we needed a bed. At this stage I wanted to make sure that the nights would go past quicker and I wouldn't have to waste tons of time that I didn't need to just lingering around in my house in the dark, where the skeletons could probably snipe me with their aimbot bows through the windows, which were still not filled with glass at this point. I also decided to make a bucket because it was important for the next stage to get some lava. This was obviously mainly to get some obsidian so I could complete the ruined nether portal to actually go to the nether. I also had 49 sand at this point, which if you just take that into account, that's a whole lot of sand, and that was all from mining it all under my base because it was blocking me actually building a cave system. So I'd already got a lot of sand at this point, but I actually didn't need that much. I just needed enough to fill in these glass windows. I'd also started to get really annoyed for the fact that there was just magma blocks outside my front door, and instead of removing them, I still thought it was a good idea at this point to keep them as defense. I don't know why, but I guess that's just the one track mind that I had at this stage, so I decided to just make some stairs and a new door and actually create a back door instead. I thought this was actually a really nice spot where I could actually start building a farm at some point too. It was getting pretty late at night time in day 3. It was already nearly 10 o'clock, and after mining endlessly for a long period of time, I placed down a torch and finally broke through the final stone block barrier to finally unleash what I'd been waiting for all this time. Diamonds. The legend himself had actually finally found some diamonds. This had only taken 3 days, but we could actually build a pickaxe straight off the bat already with this amount of diamonds. I got pretty lucky with this vein because there was literally, I think, like 6 or 7 diamond ingots. I guess you can just count them on the screen right now, but I found a whole bunch in this vein, so I was pretty excited when I found diamonds already, and I thought that was pretty good for day 3 because I'd only been mining for like a day and a half at this point. Next challenge was ticked off the list. I made myself a diamond chest plate, and I still had 2 diamond ingots after that. I decided the best idea would be just to save these because since I hadn't made a diamond pickaxe, I wanted to make sure that I had at least 2 for next time for when I found some more diamonds to actually make one. I also made sure to make a shield because the biggest problem I always have in Minecraft is skeletons. Skeletons are so annoying, and not only are they always outside at night time, but if we wanted to go to the nether, skeletons are now inside Soul Sand Valley biomes. So you can imagine my dread when I understood that there was going to be hundreds of skeletons when we go to the nether. So this was a crucial thing that we needed to make, and it was long overdue at this point. I also found a little cute doggo. There was a wolf just chilling there in the forest, but I didn't have any bones at this stage to actually tame it, so I guess I wanted to just come back and maybe tame him as a pet later if I could find him. The only problem was he'd actually lost some health, so something had attacked him probably at night time. Maybe it was one of these pigs or chickens, so I decided just to go to town with him with my sword. Probably not the nicest thing to do, but I also needed some food, so that was also another good excuse. And this is Minecraft, so there's no reason to be vegan in the game. I also found some sheep just chilling in the forest. There was a nice group of them, a pretty healthy bunch of the sheep, so I decided to use my shears and gather some wool so we could make a bed to sleep on. I guess I was cruel with the chickens and pigs, but I didn't end up killing these sheep because I knew if I needed more wool, I could just come back later. Unfortunately, the dog did that for me because he just went and slaughtered the sheep, and I decided to run because I really didn't like the dog when he had red eyes. I also found some sugarcane on the shore. This would be pretty helpful and useful to make some paper and books because the enchanting table was actually one of the next things that I need to make. Wait, is this just me? But look how many sheep are actually just chilling in this field. Like, we found 3 or 4 together before, but there's literally like 10 sheep just congregated in this small area. Look how much wool I'm getting from this. This is absolutely crazy. Like, I don't need all of this wool, but I'm just going to get it anyway because it's fun. And for some reason, it feels really satisfying using the shears on the sheep. So shearing sheep got boring pretty quickly, so I decided to go back to the caveman age and decided to fish without a net. So I just went up and just slayed a few fish in the water. I probably should have made a fishing rod, but that's just a much more fun way to do it. So that's it. I'd done quite a lot on day 3, and I also had tons of wool and wood, so I decided to finally make a bed. And it was getting really dark at night time, and I was also pretty bored with what I could do at night, so I decided just to skip ahead and go to day 4. During the deep, long, dark night of day 3, I had dreams and visions of becoming the best epic farmer in Minecraft, so I decided just to make an iron hoe and go outside. Not that side with the magma blocks, not a great idea. Round this back side which I'd created where that new door was. I started shaping some farmland, not really the best of Minecraft farms, but I decided to make what was going to be my humble little farm in Minecraft where we could start planting some basic crops. So I went to get a few buckets of water and fill up the farmland. Now it's taken some shape, we actually needed some hydration so the crops could actually grow, and also the farmland was completely drying out. And obviously, as when you have anything nice in life, there's always poachers and people trying to take it away, and that's what the creepers were doing. As you can see, there's even more creepers just watching me from the beach, so there was definitely the danger factor, and all I was trying to do was just farm at this point. Yeah, farming is this dangerous in hardcore Minecraft. So the soil was prepared, we had some water, so I just planted some basic crops. I didn't really have any seeds at this point, It was a humble beginning. Just look at this farm, man. This is the most peaceful thing about Minecraft, farming and fishing. It's just a shame that there's so many creepers around here, because I'm still paranoid even though I'm really enjoying this. So I was just mining to finish off the day, and he's only gone and done it. He's found himself some more diamonds at the end of day 4. Now this was probably the worst diamond vein I'd found, because I literally just found one, but I'd say that's a pretty fitting end to day 4, because now we can actually make a pickaxe. Yeah, as day 4 was coming to an end, I was mining redstone and I literally found more diamonds. Like, how much more luckier could I get at this stage? There was just one more diamond, yet another really tiny vein, but I'll take it. Finally, right, so I made a diamond pickaxe now. I was pretty happy with myself. Now the challenge was just not to lose it. And we still had one diamond left over too. I'd say that's a pretty successful day. Day 5, things had really changed. I'd actually activated a texture pack at this point and also a shader. So now I'm using the Sonic Ethers path tracing shaders along with, I think, the Nap texture pack. So the game just looks incredibly visually beautiful. And that's exactly why. So even though I was playing hardcore vanilla Minecraft, I definitely wanted to play with really nice visuals. Now, this would make the game look so much better, but the only problem this would create is because the lighting is so different in shaders, it meant that I needed a torch for like every centimeter of ground that I walked on, because it made caves and areas that weren't directly affected by the sun just literally pitch black. You'll see this later when I go to the nether. It becomes a huge problem. It's a necessary evil if you want your game to look great, so I decided it was worth using the shader for. Like, look how amazing this looks underwater. Just the water, the top of it, the reflections, the ripples, and what it looks like underwater. And these grass blocks, just look at these grass blocks up close. So day 5 was also a success because I found some pumpkins on a hill. I went inside a biome and found quite a few of these things, so I decided to collect them so I could use the seeds to grow on my farm. So as I was being a mountaineer and exploring the environment, I found some cows big chilling on this mountain, and I decided to kill them so I could make some books. I still need to make the enchanting table, and to make books in Minecraft, you need paper, which I had sugarcane for, and you also need leather. So I decided to inhumanely kill all these cows, which I guess is unfortunate, but I needed the leather, so it's definitely not something which I regret. I also found this really nice lava source, so I gathered the lava in a bucket for the advancement. I was going to need this to make more obsidian, so it was a really useful find. It was also extremely convenient that there was actually a water stream right next to the lava stream just pouring down the cliff, so I decided to merge the lava and the water to make obsidian. The only problem was, as obsidian is extremely hard to mine, it's even more annoying when you're mining underwater, and even if you have a diamond pickaxe, it's just so frustrating to mine. So yeah, I pretty much had to do this for every single obsidian block which I need to make, so I'm just going to skip ahead and save you the trouble of having to watch the whole process. Just look how many items I have in my inventory right now, and that's not just the end of it. I actually have a full double chest full of stuff too. So it was time to make some more storage and make another chest. The only problem is I literally had 0 space in my house to actually put a chest down, okay? So space was becoming a little bit of a problem, and since it was already late at night time, I couldn't extend the house right now, but there was literally nowhere to put it, so I had to actually break some of the floor and replace it with a chest. That's how desperate we'd actually got at this stage. Also, little side note, the glass looks amazing with this texture pack and shader combo, but I'm still really confused how the glass looks like there's water waves rippling and moving around in the glass. Like, the glass looks more like water than reflective glass. Like, I don't get, like, what's happened to the block. Also, look how amazing these blocks look with this texture pack. The furnace just looks really cool. Also, I have tons of iron to smelt as well. That's just another little random side note. The end of day 5, sleep time. Also, it looks really weird that I have just a random obsidian block in my hand in bed. So I went outside. The weather looked nice, the lighting looked great, and I was outside in a really great time of the day. I decided to actually take it upon myself to actually start finishing the nether portal. Now, one thing about nether portals is there's this weird new crying obsidian block, which looks kind of weird, and you usually need to remove it, I think. Also, look how amazing this block of gold looks like in this texture pack. Just look at those amazing reflections of how metallic that block looks. Also, I made the pumpkin into pumpkin seeds so I could actually get to work on my farm. I'd gathered these pumpkin seeds on that mountainside, which you might have seen earlier. Also, don't fret, okay? You may be wondering, why is he placing all the pumpkin seeds next to each other? Because anyone who's not a Minecraft noob knows that pumpkins need spaces in between, okay? I've been through this. I've been lectured on this. I've been taught this. I've been told this when we played Skyblock. I kind of got scolded for being a Minecraft noob. I got told that these seeds can't be placed next to each other. So don't worry, I have been told this by people before. Pumpkins can still grow. They just all can't grow at the same time. So when I harvest them, the other seeds will still be there. So it's not a problem. I also made a flint and tinder to light the nether portal when I actually completed it. Also, I don't know why I checked up the recipe because it's the most easiest recipe in Minecraft. Also, apparently the forest outside my base was absolutely littered with these sweet berry bush plants. I really like how you actually cut these with shears. It's really satisfying to cut the plants. The only problem is I didn't realize until now that sweet berry bushes, although they're really cool to farm and harvest, the actual fruits that you get from them are really bad. Like, I think they're actually the worst fruits that you can actually have in game. They give you like one hunger bar. They're just absolutely terrible. But the good thing is you can actually farm tons at the same time. So I guess that's what its redeeming quality is. I also found a fox cub and I guess the fox's mother, and I started feeding them berries. I don't know why I was feeding them berries. I guess I just thought that I could tame them by just feeding them endless stacks of berries, but they just ate my food and just ran off. So I tried to run after them. I kind of spent this phase of day 6 just kind of jogging after the foxes and seeing if I could run faster than them or catch them, and nothing really ended up happening. I was trying to force feed them berries and kind of just force them to be my pet, but they really didn't care. They just wanted my food and to run away. So there was this kind of like cat and mouse chase game where I was just following this fox and its kitten just up the mountain and down the mountain. It was just kind of like a comedy scene that just went on for hours until I got bored and realized that I wouldn't be able to outrun them. I haven't played much of Minecraft single player since the Fox update came out, so I still have no clue how I'm supposed to tame them. I also made another bucket so I could gather lava as well as the water, which I already had. And I also made an oak boat so I could go out and venture and actually explore, although it was already 6 PM on day 6 in my world, so things were going to start getting dark very quickly. Now, another downside of using the shaders is they're kind of hyper realistic, meaning in evening time, even if it's like 6 to 7 PM, things start to get really dark and things kind of transition to pitch black pretty quickly. But I was just exploring around the islands. There was actually some really nice islands which surrounded mine in kind of like an archipelago. I didn't really have much screen time actually exploring these because, like I said, things just went really dark really quickly and I had no chance to see what was up. But things got pretty dangerous. Now you can see darkness is transitioning almost instantly. Like, it went from light to dark within a mere 5 seconds. But this is where I actually discovered how cool the torches are when using the shader, because the torches actually have dynamic lighting in this shader. This is the Sonic Ether shader. So basically when you hold a torch in your hand, it actually illuminates an area around the radius of your character. So instead of just offering a light source when you place it down like normal Minecraft, you can actually use a torch just in your hand and light the way as you walk along the ground. So you don't need to waste as many torches to actually get enhanced vision, which is quite nice. This is one of those moments where you just know you messed up. I attacked this Enderman, and yeah, he pretty much killed me. This is the closest I got to failing in hardcore and just getting away. This guy hit me like a truck, and there was moments where I could actually attack him and take down my guards and my shield, but I just decided to get the heck out of there. The end of day 6, I don't know how I survived it, but I ate some berries and I decided that was enough for that day and it was time to go to bed. Rise and shine. Bright and early, I decided to take the boat for another rowing trip. It was only 8 AM, so it was fairly early. I guess I had all the daytime hours ahead of me, but my boat started to rock a few times, and this kind of bothered me. I was wondering what was happening. I decided to row out as far as I could, because there was nothing really to see on my main island. I'd already discovered everything, and I'd also been to a few of the smaller islands, and there was really nothing else on offer. Also, is it just me that finds dolphins extremely annoying in Minecraft? At first, I thought it was really cool and cute that there was kind of like a pair of dolphins following me, and then there ended up being 3, and they were making that dolphin whistling sound, but then they started getting really annoying and they started just harassing me. They started swimming in front of me and kind of swimming with me, so it's kind of like I was swimming with the dolphins, like what you do when you're like 6 years old. But then they started stalking me and literally just causing mayhem. They started like trying to push my boat along. Then when I got out of my boat and dropped some of my items, they started trying to steal my items, and they kept swimming and pushing my boat along, so I had to swim even further to try and get it. And it actually got to a point where I was really frustrated. Like, they kept trying to push my boat, then try to drown me underwater and then swim away. Like, they were getting pretty mischievous. I decided I was so annoyed at this point that I'd just eliminate all the dolphins. Like, I know dolphins are supposed to be friendly and cool, but they were just becoming pests at this rate, so unfortunately I had to kill them. So all that I ended up finding on my explorations was a Badlands biome, and I kept finding Badlands biomes for some reason when I started rowing out and exploring the oceans. For some reason, Badlands just surrounded like all of the area of my main island. This wasn't the first Badlands biome that I'd find, but I did actually find abandoned mine shafts because they are pretty common here, but I was pretty unlucky in terms of loot. I didn't really find anything of substance in here, but they were still kind of cool to traverse through and explore. So after exploring for a while after I left the mine shaft, I actually found a turtle. I found a sea turtle just chilling on the side of the beach. Now in Minecraft you need seagrass to tame sea turtles. The only problem is I didn't have seagrass, even though it was pretty easy to collect. There also was only one turtle, so I couldn't breed them and mate them. So I couldn't really get a turtle egg, so this turtle was kind of useless. I could have just left him here just to chill, but I decided not to do that. I don't know why. I mean, at first I swam under the water and tried to get some seagrass because I thought obviously I needed that to breed them. But then everything just clicked in my head and I realized, how can you breed turtles when there's only one turtle? So that led to some pretty dark thoughts, and then I just ended up killing the turtle for no reason. I don't know why. I guess I just got frustrated with how Minecraft spawned mobs, and I just thought like, why are you spawning one turtle on its own Minecraft? I can't do anything with this. And yeah, that was the end of the turtle. I docked up on another small island, which I spent like 20 minutes on, and it was absolutely pitch black on this island, so I found myself just fleeing and running away constantly. Like, I had this barrage of skeletons trying to snipe me, and like 100 creepers at one stage just like follow me from behind. So it was kind of like a run and gun stage where I was just running through this island with a torch, trying to see if there was actually anything to find on here. Sneak preview, there was nothing really to find at all. So you know how at the start of my adventure on like day 2 or 3, I found a wolf and I didn't end up taming it? Well, I found a new wolf on this island, so I managed to actually get a pet dog here, which was pretty cool. And that was the end of day 8. I decided to make a bed and sleep on the island and wait for the sun to rise. Day 8, woke to a really bright day, and I also found another bunch of foxes, but this time there wasn't just 2, there was like a pack of 4, or a litter of 4, I'm not really sure how to say a group of foxes. I knew better this time. I decided not to follow them because foxes was just annoying, but I also had another run-in with an enderman. This was not pretty. So you know how I made that bucket a few days ago? Well, it came in handy here because I found like a really well-placed lake of lava, and just how like all these lakes that I find are perfectly placed next to a lake of water as well. Well, that's what happened here. So I managed to get that remaining obsidian which I was missing, which apparently I hadn't actually collected the day before. Also, as things was getting dark, I actually found a second ruined nether portal, and this one actually had 2 gold blocks here, a ton of obsidian which I probably could have collected if I really needed it, and also yet another chest with tons of useful items in it. Now, the reason why I really wanted these gold blocks is, if you didn't know about 1.16, basically if you want to trade with the new piglins, you use the gold blocks or gold items like gold ingots to drop to them, and then they'll trade you something. So that's why I was collecting so much gold. But I found some gold and iron pieces in here, and also some enchanted gold leggings, so there's some pretty good loot in this one, probably just as good if not better than the first one that I found. So with the flint and steel and finally the amount of obsidian which I needed, I decided it was time to finish the ruined nether portal and ignite it. Of course, there was still some of this weird crying obsidian block stuff inside it, and since I'm new to 1.16 and I didn't really entirely understand this, I did try and light the nether portal with this in the frame, but then I'd kind of added one and one together and realized that you need to break it and fill it with normal obsidian. I finally had everything that I needed to actually go into the nether. This was going to be the next stage, which was going to be a really tough stage, and probably the biggest problem in finishing this hardcore challenge. So I finally completed it and I lit the portal, and it was time to step through and see what was on the other side, beyond the portal. I had some pretty good equipment at this stage to actually tackle the nether. I wasn't exactly fully ready to explore at the time of recording this, but I just wanted to kind of scope out and scout out the area and see what was around. I actually took this opportunity to actually gather some resources. I found some quartz ore located near the portal to gather, and I was also on the lookout to try and find some nether gold, because in 1.16 they did also add gold ore blocks into the nether, so it was a great area to actually gather gold and quartz. Now, quartz is a really great great building block, but since I'm lazy, I didn't really want to bother upgrading my base to anything more than wood, but it was still going to be a useful thing to actually gather. I was also extremely paranoid about not only the zombie piglins, but also the first time seeing a normal piglin, so I just went back through the portal instead of taking my chances.